Welcome to Animates, a retro anime review comedy podcast. Join our resident anime nerd Mackenzie and anime noob Lindsay as they delve into their VHS vault and review the best and worst of what the 80s and 90s had to offer. These episodes contain spoilers and adult language, so stick around if you're cool like that.
Welcome to this week's episode of Animates. I am, as always, your flamboyant, eccentric host, Lindsay, here with my other host, who is also here.
I don't get a cool intro.
No, because you made me watch Kettle Tour last week, so you don't get a cool intro.
Fine, that's acceptable.
Yeah, you deserve it. Oh, but yes, it's Mackenzie, everybody. Oh, how are you doing, Mackenzie?
Worried.
I mean, you should be.
I was worried after Ica, and then I gave you the worst thing you'll probably ever watch in your lifetime.
Oh my gosh.
Overall, I'm a little nervous this week.
Well, count your fucking stars, because I picked this before I watched the monstrosity you gave me.
My heart has settled back down in its proper position.
Yeah. So this week we're doing something we haven't really done on the podcast yet.
Ooh.
We're going to do a shonen AI kind of thing here, which...
A shonen AI? Shonen AI? I should know that shonen AI.
I don't know. I mean, from the TikTok I watched on this, I'm pretty sure it's shonen AI.
All right, cool.
People tweet at us if we're wrong.
So what is it?
Okay, so basically, we're gonna go super gay this week, and I'm very excited.
I'm down for that.
It's like British spy heist, but also with an art style that I can only describe as Art Nouveau Rocky and Bullwinkle. We are going to watch 1983 Patalliro Stardust Keikaku.
I have no idea what any of that is.
I'm so excited because I kind of this was on my Pinterest board and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to watch, and I kind of started looking into this one, and it's actually really fun. So It was written by Minio Maya.
Okay.
It started in 1978.
Oh, so it's old.
Yeah, it's old. But the thing is, it's old, but it still has regular publishings in Japan.
Oh, for the manga?
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
So, it's still going. This thing is massive. And not only that, it had 2 seasons of a show, the movie, which is what we're going to watch this week. And then
interesting.
4 stage plays. This thing is huge.
Oh, so it's lieutenanting it up with going for theater.
Yeah. And the thing is, I've only seen screenshots of the stage play, but I want to watch the full things now because they look incredible. Because I love camp.
Really?
Yeah, I know. You would have guessed that.
I could have never known.
But yeah, no, this movie's really, really fun. I say movie. It's 40-ish minutes.
Yeah.
But basically it's about there's a bunch of diamond heists that are going on, and they're what the fuck? It's happening all over the world.
Yes.
And so we need to get someone from MI6 in.
And they picked the most flamboyantly amazing spy ever.
100%.
Fuck yeah.
It's just gender bendy James Bond, but also there's a really good enemies to lovers plot line in it.
Ooh.
And maybe a little bit of Nazi imagery. So just be aware of that.
Not so cool on that part. So am I going to be missing anything by watching a movie first?
No, because I only watched the movie, and then I found out there was actually a series of this, and the movie stands alone really on its own.
Okay.
You don't watch it and you're like, what the hell is this, any of this? So no, it's really fun, and it's really funny, and it's just so beautiful. It
doesn't suffer from 80s animation problems.
No, I genuinely think this is probably one of my favorite animes in terms of style and design.
Oh wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm feeling it. I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
The men are beautiful. beautiful. They all have hair goals. So yeah, I'm excited for you to watch this because I think it's gonna be really fun. And I don't know. Oh, another important point. This is the first anime to depict gay characters in it.
Really?
So yeah, progress. And it's great. I love it.
Hell yeah.
we're gonna disappear for a little bit and do some spy shit, and we'll be back after this.
You know how much I love spy shit.
I don't know what that was. But anyways, and we're back. We just finished watching Patalliro, Stardust Keikaku. And what'd you think about this one, Mackenzie? Would you say this was like a diamond in the rough, or was this like pubic zirconian?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, pop off.
What I expected was a show full of cool spy shit and action featuring gay James Bond and his hyperfemme knife-wielding spy boyfriend being badasses set amongst a very hyper stylistic art style.
And that's what you got.
What I did not realize is that Patalliro was the name of the prince.
Yep.
Who would actually end up having most of the screen time and dialogue and jokes that felt like they would have been better at home with the samurai pizza cats.
I loved it. I don't care. I don't care at all.
I was really looking forward to cool spy shit.
There was cool spy shit?
Did not deliver on that at all. There were some moments, like when Marioc was having like her knife fight and she throws it out. But then when I was expecting action, I'd often just get two people staring at each other for like 30 seconds. And then like a shot goes off and we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Suffice to say, I was a little disappointed.
Well, that's a shame.
I was also not expecting Baphomet and other demons using Nazis to achieve their goal of world domination. But that was fine. A cool demon subplot I can dig. Was not expecting it though.
Oh man, yeah, it is. When you first watch it, you're like, oh, what? Why are you here?
Yeah, so now I rewatched it with this new perspective in mind.
Okay.
To view it more as a hyper-stylized gay James Bond comedy starring a young comedic prince, and expecting more themes of fantasy than, as I dubbed, spy-fi.
And did it feel better when you had that perspective going in?
When I did that, I did enjoy it more. Except the ending, which is the most random horseshit bullshit ending there's ever been, but I'll get to that later.
It was like, we'll talk about that.
That was so fucking stupid.
Oh man, but like, how'd you feel about the artwork of this show?
Okay, the art has no depth or shadow.
No.
Most of the time. But normally, that would be seen as lazy.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it makes sense for the art style that they're going for.
Absolutely. You can't have all of the like shadows and highlights because it would take away from all of the texture that's put into the artwork.
Exactly. Like the moments that are stylized are heavily stylized. Glittering backdrops of jewels and roses and like fancy sparkling accessories are thrown in whenever our fabulous main characters are in view. Or like the dark, lifeless despair of our demon Nazi baddies lair. It works well because these are hand-painted, really nice backdrops. Like they're
so
really
pretty.
Nice. Some effort in certain other areas would have been nice, but overall, the art style for what it is trying to achieve, it achieves really nicely.
Would you agree with me when I say Art Nouveau, Rocky, and Bullwinkle for the art style?
Absolutely. That is such a perfect description of watching this.
Yeah, because it has that very like thin line art you see in Rocky and Bullwinkle that's still very flat.
Yes.
But then it has all this like beautiful organic shape.
But also like really harsh, for cityscapes. It's just like a black cutout of paper with some squares cut out. Like it's very, very
like the very deep, rich ink blacks.
Yeah. And so that's such a
beautiful.
Good description of this. Is Art Nouveau, Rocky, and Bullwinkle with a little bit of added flair.
Ooh.
Because look, the plot is still garbage. It is all over the place. And every time I wanted more of something, it just moves on to something else. Like the 45 minutes felt like something so much longer because of all the jumping around.
It did. It definitely was like, no, we're not doing 3 acts. We're doing like 7.
Yeah, and we're gonna pack a lot. Like, some of the comedy was a bit too much for me. Okay.
Yeah.
There were moments that did make me laugh out loud. Absolutely. But there were some where they hit you with 10 jokes in 10 seconds for 60 straight bloody seconds.
Your funny bone gets like a Charlie horse. You're like, enough.
I know. I was going crazy trying to keep up with it. And like, character wise, I cannot stand Patalliro.
Oh, I could. I really liked him.
That's not to say he didn't have his moments. There were some great moments with him, but he shouldn't be the main character.
That's a shame because the series is called Patalliro.
I know. I think it's just I was looking forward to gay James Bond.
Yeah, you wanted more background.
Yeah. I might be missing something because I didn't watch the original series as to why he is the main character, all that kind of jazz. But it's not that.
It's because he's the prince.
I guess. And like, that saying I can't stand him doesn't mean I hate him. He does have his funny moments. There are times where he is most certainly a better spy than Baccaran. Like, absolutely. But as for Bancaran, is it Bancaran?
I said it's Bancaran. Yeah. Because it's B-A-N. Yep.
So Bancaran? Yeah.
Yep.
As for Bancaran, Marioc, and Junior, I wanted so much more from them.
I know. That is my one thing, is I did want way more of that whole like
they
love
are
triangle.
These like fantastic characters with emotions and so much personality. They were fabulously drawn. They've got great outfits, great makeup, and like amazing hair that even the musician Chapel Roan would be jealous of. Like, it's great looking.
Oh, they're so beautiful.
I'm straight, but Marioc is like, damn.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Hashtag would ?
Yeah, I would say of the 3 of them, oh man, I think Baccaran is the one. Like, when he's seducing that receptionist in the one episode, I was like, or in the one scene, I was like, oh my.
Yeah, but you would go for the guy that looks like a vampire.
How dare you be absolutely corrected my type?
And how dare I pick the redheaded one?
Yeah.
Not to say that Junior / Bjorn / Anderson / whoever isn't great. They're great too.
They're so stunning. I want their hair.
Every time I go to my barber, he's like, "So you going lilac this time?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think I could pull off a lilac mullet."
That's quitter's talk.
I just don't want to bleach my hair.
That's fair.
So I couldn't get enough of them. I just never actually got to see Bancaran be a proper spy. He did the seducing side of things, but he never used like a spy tool. And he was always the one getting his ass kicked and getting his ass needing to be saved.
It's true, but he did use a gun.
Sure, twice, one shot. And like at the end, I'll explain kind of what I want more from this as like a series, because like there's so many great characters.
It just feels like a very like luscious series.
It feels like you could have done so much more if it wasn't just focusing on being a like hyperactive comedy.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe in the live shows. Maybe we'll just have to watch some of those on YouTube.
I don't know if I could watch Patalliro live
in real life.
Everyone else had these great voices to listen to, like smooth and sultry.
Ooh.
And then just like Patalliro, like.
Did we just find a new voice for you?
I'm Patalliro.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Catch me on Twitch reading erotic novel descriptions in this voice.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember what we did for our second date when we did that?
Yeah, we went to the used bookstore and I read in a sexy Scottish voice to you all of the
it was great.
romance novel descriptions. And I know you loved that.
Absolutely.
But let's
get into this plot.
Let's break down what I watched. Starting with the intro music, which I can only describe as happy 80s goth music, because it has the right undertones, but a very poppy top note. Like if you change the key on this, it would easily be straight 80s goth rock.
It makes me think of, when you say happy 80s goth rock, it makes me think of Friday I'm in Love.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty decent, yeah. And then the art style in the intro is interesting. The melted chibi characters was a weird choice.
Just left them in the microwave too long.
Fear that was going to be the whole series, Because sometimes they do that with like manga and comics and like anime. You see the cover art and you're like, oh, cool. And you look inside and you're like, oh, it was
Damn
just
it.
a guest artist for the cover.
Curses.
Curse you. Sorry, curse
Ugh.
you. No, that's Kermit. Anyways,
That was still Kermit. Yeah.
so we open a dark mansion filled with skulls as a group of demons led by Baphomet himself
Yep.
plan to take
Good
over
old
the world.
Baffy.
Which annoyed me because technically the devil is the good guy.
Well, technically.
He was just trying to give people free will.
And we learned last week, sometimes we shouldn't have free will.
That's true. That's true. But so they're explaining that their plan is to take over the world, and their first mission is to kill Agent Baccaran,
Da, 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 da.
followed by a very unexpected Zig Tarantella
yeah.
with a raised hand salute, because
It
apparently
was something.
the demons aren't Nazis, but they're using the Nazis to get their way. The next scene shows a montage of a group of thieves robbing jewelry stores around the world. But yet, like, very basic shooting animation paired with beautifully animated scenes of glass and jewels just being shot up and shattering and glimmering against dark backgrounds.
Also, these are the most like glam rock bank robbers. They have like stars painted on their eyes and flowing hair. Like, I love it. Feathered mullets everywhere.
You know what? If you're going to do crimes, you might as well do it looking fabulous.
I mean, we learned that from Cat's Eye.
And it's also hard to draw shattering glass nicely.
Mhm.
And for being something from the 80s, this does a pretty good job of that. I quite like
It's
that intro scene.
so beautiful.
However, what we see next is a little confusing because we get a police chief writing papers while like the king whips him to keep him working and tells him, don't worry, I sent notice to your wife that you won't be home, but the notice he sent was that he was dead so he can keep working him about his wife worrying when he's coming home.
Yeah.
And I know this was just a metaphor, but the king is wearing a Nazi uniform. Yeah. And I know it's just to be like, look, he's being a dictator over this man, which is a bad thing, but my brain at first didn't pick up on the metaphor, and I went, hold on a second, is this Nazi versus Nazi?
I did the same thing. I was like, oh no, should I not? This is probably not going to be good for the podcast. And then I was like, oh, okay.
It's just a
It's
metaphor. But basically, Baccaran shows up and is all like, hey, Prince, there are some suspicious robberies happening, but they're always one step ahead of us. While the prince in chibi form keeps cracking jokes that Baccaran
In chibi form? He's only in chibi form.
That's true. That's fair. He's persistently chibi. But he's like shooting at this kid and throwing down all of his like jokes and whatnot. And during all this, we learn that the crown jewels, his inheritance, have been stolen.
Ooh.
Which is apparently a lot of
Yeah, because the
jewels.
country is known for diamond exports.
They head to the vault and they find it trashed, and then the prince finds a robotic spy spider that I guess was the way they got intel to get in. And again, so far, this kid has been proven who, by the way, this prince is 10 years old. And
Like,
so
he's a
he is
child
proven to be a better spy than Baccaran so far. And
who is a grown-ass man.
And then, although he does ignore the prince while he's like just going off on some tangent, which causes him to fall, tear his crotch muscles, which I guess is the second time he's done that. Apparently, sure, why not? For some reason, they decide to go to Japan because the prince says that's where the spider's from. And why? Because Japan makes electronics. Duh.
And they're small.
Yeah. They fly to Japan and they decide to go talk to the president of a company with the prince dressed as an old man, pretending to be
why
a
not?
friend of the guy or whatever. But they're denied entry until Baccaran uses his exquisite beauty to
Ooh.
seduce the receptionist, who lets the prince in while her and Baccaran, at least what it alludes to, fuck on the table.
Hell yeah, they do.
And like, she starts moaning real quick. Like, this guy hasn't even taken his gloves off yet.
He has the riz.
He's got the magic skin. So I guess he's not, is he bi then?
I think he is.
Okay. So he's
Yeah.
bi. So it's bi James
He's
Bond.
just bye, James Bond.
And so the prince is violently thrown out of the president's office because I guess his technique for like asking if he knows anything about the spider is to just shove it in his face. And I guess
Yep.
the company's president just happens to be allergic to spiders.
Which, like, such a strange allergy.
But then we just get a montage of him talking to different electronics companies and they keep referencing the same story from the 19th century or something, and he keeps like either beating them up or hanging them by ropes because he's annoyed with them, just being an absolute nuisance. I take back what I said about him being a good spy in this moment, because I was very wrong, because his tactics are terrible.
Just go in, throw spiders, get a big spider.
Yeah, inflatable spider, which they finally talk to someone who's like, screw you guys, I'm just going to call the police. And then finally,
logic.
Baccarat is like, well, I'm here under the authority of Interpol. I would love if you called the police. Which results in the man pulling a gun and then getting his ass kicked by the prince, not Baccarat, who's just stands there with his hand in his head. And then the president of this company gets killed by a sniper before he can reveal the name of who may had him make them. But he does say as he's dying, Zig Tarantella.
Da, da, da!
And then in the distance, we see the shooter getting onto a helicopter, and Baccarat is struck in awe as he realizes the beauty sitting on the ladder. The lilac-haired shooter is Junior, someone from his past.
Who should be dead.
Dun, 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 dun.
Also, I love that it was, fully that, like, Clark Kent moment of, like, I don't know who this is. And then they take their tiny little mask off, and then it's like, oh my gosh, Junior, you should be dead.
Incredible bone structure and hair.
The long lilac hair. The impeccable fashion taste. Nope, none of that.
Yeah. What I love about this is that the animation is basic, but anytime we're focusing on any of our fabulously LGBTQ plus characters, their earrings glimmer, or we get these Utena-esque glimmering rose overlays and sensual, sexy looks from everybody.
Just a bit of pizzazz, and I love it.
And then we're back at Baccarat's flat as he reminisces about his past love affair with Junior before he, in this dream, he gets a scene of him showing up to confront Baccarat and throws a rose at him, and then as he throws the rose, tries to throw a knife behind it. But Baccarat's quicker, and he, boom, shoots him and kills him. Or so he thought. Bum, 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 bum.
What a twist.
And the daydream ends with another beautiful hyper-femme man shows up named Marioc.
All these beautiful effeminate men in this show.
Who gets upset.
Want all of them. Well, I mean, I get it, but...
That Baccarat is thinking about, and asking questions about Bjorn, which we learn is the name of Junior.
Yeah.
And then Marioc knows they must have dated and freaks out, thinks that Baccarat loves Junior more. And
I mean, you always got to be careful. The one that got away comes back. You never know.
In the manga,
comes back from the dead.
In the manga, I learned he does cheat on Marioc all the time.
Baccarat! How dare you?
Yeah, and the next part is strange because it's as the prince and like Marioc are fighting over dumb jokes, and he makes a reference to men getting pregnant, which Marioc says isn't possible. But I learned in my research, this is actually a reference to the manga, where Marioc, while being entirely biologically male, no internal baby-making organs whatsoever, somehow gets pregnant twice.
What?
Yeah, they left that out of the anime because TV was ready for By James Bond, but it was not ready for that in the 80s. But yeah, they're 100% biologically internal, like nothing there,
like
but for some reason,
testes, gonads, all that fun stuff.
No uterus, none of that stuff, and they somehow get pregnant twice in the manga, which is. If you can make it possible, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there would be stoked for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Very confused when I was reading that. It was interesting. And they even say it's never explained why.
Oh.
Yeah.
The writer was just like, sure, why not?
Why not? And so we learn the spider belongs to an ex-Nazi scientist. Who, in another fever dream scene where the prince says he learned all of this from that guy and points to the manga artist on the couch who's like, whoa, hold on, this isn't in the script. Because apparently now we've got fourth wall breaking going on too.
We've got insertion comedy.
Yeah, but the prince is like, no, I just listened in on your call. And they're like, how the fuck did you do that? And he's like, I got special chakra pressure points. And like,
oh my gosh, the chakras.
presses his ears and he hears really well, presses near his tongue and it like extends out really long and he can taste everything, presses near his eyes and he gets supervision. And then Marioc, being annoyed with this, kicks him in the butt, which causes him to like fart hard enough to fly off. And this was a joke that made me laugh my ass off. She was like, oh, that must have been his butt chakra.
Yeah, it must have been for his intestines. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Oh man. I don't know why, but I love like insertion comedy and things like that. I just, because like it's so funny because it's so dumb, but it's so effective. Like we saw this in Shamanic Princess, we both loved the part in the second half where it was like, what? No, in the first half you said this about the demon, and then he like sits down and watches the movie to get caught up on that.
Oh, you mean Dragon Half?
Oh yeah, that's what I meant, not Shamanic Princess. Yes.
And like, again, when I was complaining about this being at home in Samurai Pizza Cats, I liked Samurai Pizza Cats, as dumb as it is. So that wasn't to say that's a bad thing. It's just not what I was expecting. When I came at this expecting that, it was a lot better to have all this stuff completely thrown in there. So
fair.
Yeah. But so Bankaran goes to meet up with Junior, who has called him and is like, hey, we got to meet up tomorrow at 4. And Hot Spy goes to meet other Hot Spy. Well, Hot Spy and Annoying Prince trail him. And we get a good joke of like Marioc like having flames surround her in anger, but then she starts coughing on smoke because the prince is like stoking a real fire to like add dramatic effect. And that was very funny. It was just like the dry ice in Dragon Half.
Yeah.
Very good. When I was prepared for and expecting it. Bankaran goes.
Oh, what? Is it weird when people like just tell you about a thing that you're watching and it turns out to be something completely different?
Shh. That's all I'm going to say to that. Shishums. Shishums. But so Bankaran goes to meet up with Junior, aka Bjorn, and accuse him of working for Tarantella, but then they just end up making out. I
mean, the sexual tension.
But again, cheating on Marioc.
Again, I was just like, hot.
Yeah, but you got no skin in that game, so of course you're just like, I have a feeling that you just already. I have a feeling you watched that a few times. You're like, yeah, remember when you said this series felt longer than 45 minutes? It's because you kept replaying that one part for an hour. That's why it felt so long for you.
You figured me out.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out the lipstick that he was wearing was poisoned, and Bankaran falls over.
How Uma Thurman.
Bjorn pulls out a gun to kill him, but Marioc throws a knife and then jumps in and like starts passing the knife back and forth between their hands, like, I'll fuck you up. Because in the manga, that's what they're known for, is actually being an incredibly skilled knife fighter.
Oh, interesting.
We then learn that Bjorn's not actually named Junior, and they escape. The next scene is, it's also completely out of nowhere. Apparently the prince hired another better than Bankaran spy.
I love this kid. This scene I loved.
But the spy turns out to be a literal cat,
mm-hmm.
who's the older brother of superhero Super Cat, who's paid for his intel in dried fish flakes, mm-hmm. speaks only in meows, which the prince is fluent in, and then actually finds out who Bjorn is because Bankaran is not a good spy. And it turns out that it's Junior's twin brother, Anderson? But what the fuck was this scene? Don't get me wrong.
It was amazing. That's what it was.
Watching again, loved the scene. In the moment when it first happened, my brain was like, oh my God, another not what I'm looking for in this story scene. But watching it again, I was like, I love a cat. I love a good cat in a story. And this was a good cat in a story.
Yep, this was a good cat in a story.
Just go into this looking for Samurai Pizza Cats and you'll be happy. Go into it looking for Cat's Eye Spy shit. You won't be as happy.
There's still spy shit.
Yeah, sure. But so Anderson is sent by the demonic Nazis to the Kennedy Space Center, where he steals a rocket.
Shout out to the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah, what up? And he flies this rocket up into space, and then the representative of Tarantella does a shady broadcast across the globe asking everyone to surrender or they'll blow up all major cities. And then as a show of power, they actually blow up Tokyo.
Yep.
With a beautiful glimmering cloud that rains down hail in the form of diamonds.
Yep. And I just love that the one lady is like, ooh, it's so pretty. It's like diamonds. And then everybody just gets shredded.
Like all buildings, all people, just gone.
Who would have thought having the hardest thing on Earth like plummet towards you would be painful?
It's a glittery, beautiful, but painful death. And we learned that this breed of nuclear-style bomb has no radiation to it, so it has the same power. I mean, that's better than radiation, I guess. Sure.
I guess.
If you're going to die, you might as well not poison the environment.
Yeah.
If you're taking over the world, why would you destroy its environment too, you know? 'Cause then you're just
Mhm.
screwed.
Just ruining everything. What's with all these
Exactly.
lilac-haired baddies trying to like just destroy humanity?
Bastards. And so after that, we learn that the leaders of the world are incredibly cowardly. Oh
Oh,
my God.
so coward. They're like, oh, okay. Like this person didn't even need to show this demonstration of power. It just seemed like the leaders of the world have been like, okay,
Yeah, like, you know what? We won't even try. We'll just surrender the fucking Nazis.
yeah, that's fine.
Total global surrender in 1 hour, which is insane. I was so mad. And so the prince, once again proving he is somehow both the dumbest and smartest person in the room, is like, oh, hey, I have a giant rocket because after we farmed all the diamonds in the world, we built this to get more from other worlds.
Yep. Makes sense. Logic's there.
And also, here's my robot servant I invented.
Plasma X.
Oh, also, the queen shows up, and it is very clear that her and Baccarat have done the dirty.
Oh yeah.
And Marioc knows it because they are both staring each other down with death rays.
Oh my gosh. What if Patalliro is Baccarat's son?
Was about to ask you that same damn question.
And he sticks with these missions because it's just like a father-son bonding exercise.
Oh.
Oh man.
So the gang pull a James Bond Moonraker and they go to space.
Because why not?
Yeah. And
We haven't done that yet.
No. And they board the other ship by using the robot to Kamehameha the ship open. But instead, they have a space battle when Anderson just kicks open a door wearing an incredibly sleek body contouring space suit.
Yeah. I was like, wow, the curves and the swerves and like just like a whole helmet extension just for their hair.
They had the Ariana Grande helmet extension
Ponytail?
on the top of the ponytail.
Yep.
Yeah. They looked pretty cool at a rose on the outside, just like gun out ready style.
Mm-hmm.
And before we can actually get a good battle, they just launch the rocket anyways, and it explodes above the Earth. And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. And so we cut back to like a heavily stylized space encounter with glitter and again those crystal roses.
There's roses,
encapsulating
yeah.
Baccarat and Anderson. It's very beautiful. I love the style of those roses. They've got the most detail out of everything in this whole series, but they look amazing. And Anderson is like, Junior gave me a letter before he died about how much they loved you and how much you loved them. And as I read it over and over, again and again, I fell in love with you too, Baccarat.
Whoa.
But he doesn't believe it, which is
No.
great. And so Anderson's like, all right, fuck it, and throws a rose that like glitters and flies towards Baccarat as he did previously, or I guess as his twin brother did, and they both raise guns at each other. But just like in Star Wars, Han shot first, destroying Anderson's helmet. I saw your face and I was making that reference. You looked a little confused. People listening will get it.
Great.
And leaving Anderson without a helmet to basically suffocate and freeze in space as they float away amongst the stars.
But also their hair like still comes out of the helmet beautifully.
Oh, of course. Anyone listening might be thinking some sort of way this movie is going to end. And I want you to know that you're wrong.
Yep.
Because what happens next makes absolutely zero fucking sense whatsoever. Okay? Because it turns out the prince can teleport. And he does so to a mountaintop amongst a sea of swirling diamond clouds forming all over the world, which admittedly is a very pretty view.
Oh, it's stunning.
However, he calls the spirits of his ancestors, who don't look like his father or his mother, they look exactly like him, and
Dick
they arrive
out.
naked and rubbing all over each other. And then they use their family power, I guess, to send the diamond clouds back to the ancient times. What the ever-loving fuck does this have to do with any of this? What the fuck was that?
Also, my brain was like, but why, if you send it to the past, it's going to damage things and then it'll affect you in the present. What are you doing?
But it doesn't. It didn't do shit because nothing changed in the line. All the diamonds dust that you see around places was just the leftover dust that had already kind of like started to settle because there's dust in things.
Could you imagine getting that shit in your eyes?
It would suck. But
Oh, yeah.
what the ever-loving fuck? This is so fucking stupid. Oh, the bomb exploded anyways. Let me go turn back time on a set of clouds
If I
around
could
the world.
turn back time.
Ugh, this was not as fabulous of an ending as Cher is, okay? Anyways, the Nazi demons are super pissed that the Nazi scientist failed. And so they like eradicate his whole body with beams of light.
Yeah. It's pretty sick.
But the demons aren't worried. He's like,
No.
they're like, people are dangerous and easily manipulated. We'll just wait until someone else comes along that we can make use of and further our cause. And it's like, oh, okay, they're just waiting for the next dumb person to come along. Great.
So
Awesome.
if that's the moral of the story, everybody. Critical thinking so that the demons don't try to manipulate you.
Yeah. And then we end with Baccaran and Marioc talking about Anderson floating amongst the stars. Then we learned that the prince and his ancestors, and I guess his robot, have been transported to ancient times with the clouds and are spending their time happily farming for diamonds.
Yep. And we get a
What the
view of
shit?
that.
What the fucking shit was this? I wanted a spy show that actually follows spies. Like, don't get rid of the prince. Don't have him be prominent, at least. I don't need him every episode, but I wanted more action. I wanted more romance. I wanted more Baccaran. Give me more of these heavy stylized scenes without the need to cut away to a cheap gag in the middle of it. Give me more of that with a little bit of gag, but just give me some actual fucking meat on the bones of this thing. I don't care if it's more scenes of Baccaran making out with everybody. I'll take it.
I would watch the shit out
I
of
just
that.
need more. Because I did not get enough.
Oh man. I definitely think this needed more of like less Patalliro. More Baccaran.
Yeah.
Junior.
Give me
Mario.
the hot, shapely gay guys, please. I need more of that than I need of Patalliro.
I also need more of that.
for two very different reasons between the two of us, but I don't even mean that like I would just take them because over Patalliro. I want a whole series of just those three.
Yeah.
I love them so much. They have so much
man.
personality. They got so much style. I need more of that.
Well, I'll probably it's funny. This is the first series that I'd be like, I will definitely be watching more of this. So I'll let
That's
you know.
the thing. As I'm gonna I have to. I have to watch the original series because I need to know if we get more of actual like Anderson and Marioc actually having roles other than standing in the background looking pretty.
Well, stay tuned for next week's episode, everybody.
No,
Where
I'm
we
not
just
gonna.
we forget everything we've done so far, and we just keep watching this until we get this itch scratched.
Exactly. Is it good if you look at it from the sense of being a comedy? Yes, it's got a lot of fun stuff with a great art style. But again, if you're looking at it from this aspect of wanting cool James Bond spy stuff, you're not going to be as satisfied. So, do I recommend watching this? Absolutely, I do. Just go into it knowing what you're getting.
It is a slapstick gay comedy.
There is so much slapstick. Like, no, like I said earlier, some of the jokes are very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Some really good one-liners that happen. But then there's 400 one-liners in 2 minutes, and you just, like, I was writing notes, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to make notes about all the one-liners that are happening that I find funny, because, or even the ones I don't find funny, because I don't have the time on this podcast to do that. It would be 3 hours of me just being like, and then they said this, and then they said this, and then they said that. This
And then
one
they
was
reference
funny.
the same joke again.
Yep. Yeah, there's
and
a
this
lot of
same
that.
bit again.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do that.
Oh man.
But
Okay,
I will say, I would love to be as beautiful as
Oh.
Marioc. Give me them curves and that gorgeous colored hair,
Oh,
and I'm
I
there.
want.
As long as I don't have to grow
want.
it out that long, I don't want hair like that lengthwise.
Yeah, I was like, could you imagine showering?
That take hours to dry.
Well, and also the hair could like just slick through. Never mind. We're gonna have to cut that out anyways. I'm just not gonna.
Sorry, the what?
Your hair would get wet and then just like stick to your butt crack.
Yes.
But we can cut that out.
No, we'll leave that in. You just wear it like lingerie.
No.
Braid it around the front, pull it through like a G-string.
Oh, I hate this. People are gonna stop listening.
That's the end of the episode.
Well, we have to rate it. What would you rate this show?
I'm gonna give it 2 ratings.
Okay.
And I rate it
And
from the original thought of what you described to me as what I thought I was getting.
I said slapstick comedy. You're gonna listen back and edit this and be like, "Oh,
I know,
she did
but
say
I
slapstick
forgot.
comedy."
I was looking at the images I saw on Google, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty sweet.
So that's
I'm
your
going that way.
fault.
If I'm going for a spy thing, I'm gonna give it like a 3.
Wow.
I didn't get enough spy stuff. But that's only if I'm going from a spy anime. But rating it from what it is as like a slapstick, fun comedy about a prince and his MI6 bodyguard solving crimes. God, it's the art style that saves it for this one for sure, and the characters. But with just how much I didn't like the story and how much jokes they threw at you, a whole bunch, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Ooh, you're very close to what Mal gave it.
I'm gonna guess
Mal
that Mal
gave it
gave it
a-
a 5.95.
You went the wrong way. Mal
Oh.
gave it a 6.6,
Oh, okay. Oh,
but
hey,
IMDb gave it a 5.
6.6. They're missing one more 6 to match the demon stuff.
Ooh.
But okay, so I'm not too far off. I think it's worth
No.
a watch. It's 45 minutes. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Watch it. That's my review. You will be seduced.
You'll be wanting to kiss boys no matter what,
Oh, I always want to kiss boys.
especially ultra femme
Oh
fancy
my
hair
gosh,
boys.
I love femmy boys. Anyways, we're not talking about my proclivities.
We should probably just end the episode.
Just me talking about the different kinds of boys I like.
Mm.
Men, paint your nails. It's sexy. Anyways, thank you so much for sticking around for this episode. I'm really glad that you were here with us. If you want to listen to more of our episodes, we have plenty. I think it's like, this is 28 now.
Yeah.
So we have a healthy catalog for you to go back and listen to while you're at work or whatever. That's what I do. I listen to myself while I'm sewing. Anyways, we have episodes like Neighborhood Stories or Dragon Ball. We have our April Fool's episode that Mackenzie made me watch some terrible things for that you can check out.
Bark, bark.
Dragon Half is also very good. So there's lots, and I highly recommend you check them out. And then also you can follow us on socials at Animates across all of them. But I believe Twitter is the one that we're most active on, so you can have some funny things for that. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, everybody. And we will see you next week where Mackenzie is going to give me something to watch. So that'll be interesting.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Spies.